What about you, Bella? Okay.
I really like the one of the clock too, and I actually was looking at the candle right now, and that kind of reminds me of like all the work that you have to do, and sometimes you don't have enough time during the day, so you have to do it later at night, and you're kind of like burning that midnight oil, and that kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have some stories of burning the midnight oil and also being burnt out. Does anyone else want to share?
I saw the one that stood out to me was the School of Fish, like just because you're like in a big environment with like different students and like it could get overwhelming. I would think so.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yes. What about you, Danielle or Elizabeth? Do you guys want to share?
Um, the clock is also what immediately stood out to me, just because I feel like it would be like a lot of deadlines and stuff that you need to be worrying about constantly. But then I guess maybe the curtains too, and that's also associated with the clock because getting up, making sure you're getting enough sleep, or at least trying your best to, you know, that.
Yes.
The clock stood out to me as well. And the fish. There's so many people in college, so many people are gonna meet.
Yes, exactly. Thank you guys so much for sharing. And I appreciate the insight you guys were able to connect with these collages, these pictures. And you're so right. It is a very timely thing. It is a big, if you choose a big school, you're a fish, you can be a fish out of water. You can be going against the current, towards the current. You wake up, you're burning the midnight oil. All of these all relate to the college experience. And I loved to get your insight on that. So thank you guys for sharing. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So, as I mentioned, I'm a first generation Latina college graduate. So, I'm the first in my family to go to a 4-year college. I actually have an older sister, and I was still the first one to go. So, I had like no reference. And I graduated 2 years ago from Cal State Long Beach with a political science degree and a concentration in global politics, 2 minors, and then I graduated high school 5 years ago, which is so crazy to think because it feels like it was yesterday. But why am I telling you guys this? Why should you care? Well, like I mentioned, I had no reference point for going into college. I had no guide. I had no one to really turn to, no one I could bounce ideas off, or no one that I can, use as a mentor or reference besides Miss Lefford. She was honestly the mentor I went to, but it sometimes would have been nice, as to have like an older sister or someone who I could reach out to. And so now I'm here to tell you guys my experience, especially when I moved from the Valley to Ventura. I was one of the few people of color in my classes, to be completely honest. So I felt very underserved, undervalued. I even had one teacher tell me that I wasn't smart enough to go to college, that I wasn't going to make it to go to college because I came from a charter school. And that was really detrimental to me. But I found my community and I found the resources, but I had to actively look for them rather than have someone kind of share them with me. So I'm hoping that all the resources I share with you guys today, all the tips I share with you guys today, you guys take into account and actually really use them, or pass them along, because it is very hard out here, to be completely honest, as a person of color, especially a woman of color. And people are very sometimes inhumane, I guess, to students, or not very kind or compassionate to students. And unfortunately, I had an experience like that, but that's okay. Life goes on and I grew from it. But I'm here to tell you that there's people out there willing to support you, willing to share their experiences, and willing to honestly be there every step of the way, as we've seen with Miss Lefford. She's done that for us. Um, so high school. I'm gonna tell you guys, a little bit about my high school experience. I took 8 AP classes in high school, had a ton of honors classes. I ended up taking 10 AP tests, even though I only took 8 honors classes. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is not because I want you guys to get overloaded with like homework or assignments. It's just taking AP classes is a way for you to get ahead in college. I actually didn't know this when I was taking AP classes. I just took it because I was told, like, okay, you're advanced, right? So you're going to take these AP classes. But little did I know that a lot of these classes actually helped me graduate a year early from college. I was even able to if I had wanted to, I was able to graduate 2 years early from college, but I decided to do 2 minors, which is why I stayed an extra year. And that's why I'm sharing this with you. If you guys are able to, and you guys can, take AP classes, research the major you want to go into, research the colleges you want to go into, research the type of credits they offer for honors and AP classes. Because there are some honors classes. Yes, I see someone in the chat. Oh, sorry. There are some honors classes that can give you college credit or community service hours, internships possibilities, and it all helps for college. And then same thing goes with participation in clubs and extracurriculars. I was in student government in high school. I was in 4 school clubs, and I was also in national societies. I was in the National Honor Society and the California Scholarship Federation. I had no idea of any of these national societies when I was in high school. I had to actively go and look for them, which is totally fine, but it's important to know ahead of time because a lot of these national societies actually offer scholarships for students, which is pretty cool because who wants to, have debt once they're out of college? Nobody. So a lot of these national societies offer scholarships and as well as the school clubs. You just have to make sure that you ask. And that is something I really want to ingrain is always ask questions, always ask for help. I don't really think there is any a such thing as a stupid question. Always ask questions. I love asking questions because you never know what can come out of it. So you always ask hey, does this school club offer scholarships? Or can I get community service out of it? Besides the fact that it looks good on college resumes, college applications, there are possibilities to get these scholarships in these extracurriculars. Same thing goes for jobs. If you work at a jobs, a lot of these places that you may work at can offer scholarships, can offer grants for you. If your parents work at a certain company, they can also offer scholarships. They can also offer grants. Sorry. Yes, I got a question here. How do you not compare yourself to others in college in terms of internships and academics? I'm going to be completely honest. Comparing yourself to others is really hard to not do, especially when you're applying to college and college resumes. It's always about how do I pad up my college resume, right? How do I stand out? It's kind of a trap that you fall into. Obviously, everyone can't do everything at the same time, otherwise you will burn out. But it's what you can do to the best of your ability. And also find interests that interest you. Just don't do something just because it's gonna look good on a college application either. Make sure that it will help you in the major you're going to, I don't know, study. Or if you want to study a minor, do a club that can help you with the minor, or do a national society that will help you with internships or networking. I wouldn't suggest just doing anything just so that you can pad up your college resume or because this could potentially look better compared to X, Y, or Z person. But I'm not gonna lie. It's hard not to do that. I fell in that trap multiple times. I would just say to be self-assured in what you're doing and what you want, which can be hard, especially as a high school student, that you're oh, I don't know what major I want or what college to go to. Ask questions. Literally ask questions and take risks and try things out. I tried so many clubs in high school. I tried so many different, I was gonna say jobs, but not so many jobs, more like internships and volunteer experiences in high school, just to make sure I really wanted to apply to the major I did. So comparing yourself is hard not to do, but if you're able to just, stand confident in who you are and know what you want and what major or what college or even what career field you want, it's a lot easier to kind of pick out the clubs, academics, and internships you want. And like I said, always ask questions. Yes, Lamia?
Sorry, yeah, I was just my question, I guess it was more because I'm in college right now, so
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
yeah.
I thought you were
Um,
asking as a high schooler.
oh no, I'm not actually involved in Alumni 360 that much, but I do get invited to some of the events. But I was just wondering it's hard, especially because I'm considering pre-med as a future career, a path, and it's hard when you have other people that are doing more. They've had a bunch of internships or they have just done more, and it feels like you're not doing enough, I guess.
Okay, I totally understand what you're saying. I was a poli-sci major. I don't know if you were here for that, but I said I was a political science major, and a lot of my peers were like interning at the Senate or interning with the city council. And it was hard not to compare yourself, but I would still use the same advice I would give high schoolers. Do as much as you can. College is very stressful as it is, and you don't want to burn yourself out. And I don't know if that's something you've already heard or it's cliche to say. You have to also make sure that you're staying mentally and physically healthy. I will say though that just because someone else is doing an internship, that doesn't mean you can't get experiences in other places. Let's say you don't have an internship. You can still get experiences from volunteering, from going to school clubs, from being in a national society. Like I only did one internship in college, and I had peers who had done like 3 or 4, and I was still able to get a job right out of college and it was like a managerial job. So and that was because of like the volunteer experiences I had. I was in a lot of clubs. I took a lot of AP classes, which even though it's a class, you can still learn a lot of skills, strategic, analytical, critical skills from taking these sort of classes. So honestly, anything you do is a learning experience, and it can be used on your resume, on your LinkedIn. You just need to find the right proper verbiage and the right way to kind of what's the word? The right way to tailor it to what you're applying to or want. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully that helps. But I know like comparing yourself to your peers is, like I said, a hard trap that you can easily fall into. Just focus on your studies. At the end of the day, they're not gonna get the degree for you. You're doing it for yourself, right? So just focus on that and find your support system. I'd say that. Um, yeah, so that was my high school experience, like a few things that I did in high school that helped me out in college a lot. I also reached out a lot to my teachers. So I was really close in high school to my teachers, my AP classes, my student government, my club advisors, and that really helped when it came to recommendation letters. The closer you are to your teachers, also the nicer you are to them, makes your recommendation letters stand out even more so. So I would say as if you can be active in high school, it's a really great way to not only build your leadership communication skills, your network. You know, a lot of high school friends, students, and in your classes can end up being a good network you can tap into out of college or or in the workforce. Funny thing, my boss's girlfriend is actually a student that I went to school with. So you never know, even your high school friends or high school peers can be a network you can tap into. So I'd just say have fun in high school, but also socialize as much as you can, take risk, try so many different things, and also be kind to your teachers and be verbal with them, make yourself present so that they can give you the best recommendations possible. Another thing I would suggest about high school, which I use the most, is always use the resources in high school. The College and Career Center was something that I was always at. I was always there at the College and Career Center, always looking for opportunities, always looking for internships, always looking for scholarships. You guys would be surprised how many companies, how many people, how many foundations are willing to give free money to students. All they got to do is apply. So use the resources that the community offers, use the resources that high schools offer, and just enjoy it because high school, in my opinion, goes by really fast. Any questions about my high school experience before I move on, actually? Cool. Oh. Some quick tips that I would just kind of reiterate, always ask questions. Literally anything, always ask questions. And it can be to your peers, to your friends, to your family, to your teachers, always ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I feel like people don't really understand the importance of asking questions. Sometimes they get afraid that, oh, this might be like a stupid question, or this might not be really the right question. Always ask questions. Like I said, take advantage of all the services, the tutoring centers, use the Career and College Center. It is very, very useful. And then take notes and organize them accordingly. To this day, I still have my high school notes all in a Google Drive. Have I used them? No, but I'm able to help out other high school students who have reached out to me, like other students currently in my high school will reach out to me like, hey, like I need a tutor, can you help me out? And I'm like, you know what, I do, I can help you out with like the FRQs and AP US history or whatever. That to me is like something that I actually take pride in, being able to help others. So I do take notes and organize them accordingly. And I suggest that if you're still in high school, do the same. Not only will it make your life much easier, but you can always refer to them in the future, especially if you're taking an AP class and taking the AP test at the end of senior year or something. Take advantage, like I said, of community resources. There are a lot of free websites, a lot of free AP testing websites, a lot of free SAT and ACT websites that you guys can use. I suggest you take the practice test if you are taking the SATs and the ACTs. I know a lot of colleges nowadays don't really require them anymore, but there are still some private schools that do. So just make sure that you also check that your college that you're attending or applying to doesn't require it. And if it does, make sure you take the test in a timely manner. And then apply for scholarships. Those are the tips I would, tell any high school student and some during their high school experience. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I skipped so like the slides so quickly. Okay, now transitioning from high school to college. I guess these are like the 6 main points I would hit if you're transitioning from high school to college, if you're a junior applying to college currently, or a senior deciding on a college, like I think it's May 1st where it's like college signing day. So test. Make sure you guys get all the tests you guys need to get out. Make sure you guys do them in a timely manner. I remember I ended up actually taking the SAT my senior year rather than my junior year, and I was stressing out because I didn't think I was going to have enough time to get it in. Make sure you guys put in those deadlines. Make sure you guys do them in a timely manner. And I also suggest, if you want, I actually took the SATs 2 to 3 times just because a lot of colleges will take the highest score or even super score. And what that means is they'll take the highest score of each subject area and combine them. So even if you took 3 tests, you got the highest score in math on the first try, science on the third try, they'll super score it. That way your score actually ends up being a lot higher than whatever shows up, which is really cool. Some colleges do that. Always ask for waivers. There are a lot of free or fee reducing waivers for any test, APs, SATs, ACTs. Always ask. I believe the AP tests are like $75. Nope, just kidding. I think it's $150 each per exam. If you ask for fee waivers, which is what I did in high school, they end up being like $45 per exam. Same thing with SATs. They're like $80 each. If you ask for a fee waiver, you can either get them for free or like at reduced price. So always ask for waivers. Don't be afraid to ask. Trust me, there are a lot of resources out there for us, and you just have to be willing to ask and look for them. The second one I say is research. So once you get all the testing out of the way, you want to make sure you research the school you want, or at least the type of characteristics or requirements of a college that you want. So make sure whether you want to go to a 4-year college or like a university, a liberal college, or a non-liberal arts college, I guess, a public school or a private school, a small campus or a large campus, the course system or the semester system. These are a lot of things that you should consider when researching colleges. It might not seem like a big deal, but it is. For example, I cannot do the quarter system. I literally cannot be able to be in a UC school because it does not work for me. So I had to make sure that I got into a college that had the semester system, just because the timing on that was just much more adaptable for me. And then same thing with the smaller large campus. I actually found myself being able to fit in more comfortably at a larger campus like Cal State Long Beach than at a smaller campus like Pepperdine. Same thing, public versus private. Make sure you guys ask these questions and do your research really well, just because you want to make sure that you're going to the college where you're going to feel comfortable and feel at home the best. Something I would also recommend is ask for shadowing programs. I, in high school, asked so many questions when applying to these colleges that I was even able to actually shadow students at these colleges. I was able to shadow a student at Pepperdine from the political science department. I was able to shadow a student from the business major at Cal State Long Beach. And honestly, that is something that I have never heard any of my peers do, just because they didn't research or didn't ask the right questions. But there are abilities to shadow a current student at these colleges and universities, which gives you a much deeper insight as to what college day-to-day life will be like. And it really helped me narrow down my choices as well. So make sure to ask for shadowing programs or tour campuses, or if you're able to audit a class. All of these things are something that are actually available to high school students if you ask. The third thing I would say is to also make sure you research whether or not you want to go to a UC school, a Cal State school, a private school, or even go abroad. I know recently a lot of high school students have been looking to going to the UK. It's been a popular destination for a lot of high school students in California particularly. So like make sure you do your research, make sure you have all the applications, all the requirements for these schools, and also make sure you ask your questions. Like I said, always ask questions. If you know someone who goes to Cal State Long Beach or any Cal State, ask them what it's like to go to that school. Ask them what their day-to-day life looks like. Ask them what resources the school provides. Always ask questions. You never know how helpful these responses or experiences can help you to determine what college you want to go to, especially if you apply to multiple colleges. I ended up applying to like 15 colleges my junior year, and it was so stressful trying to figure out how to narrow it down to just one by May 1st. So always ask questions. The fourth thing is financial aid. And I think this is probably the most important part, at least it was for me, being able to afford college and to leave college debt-free. So FAFSA. FAFSA is the financial student aid application for honestly all students in the US. Always fill this out. Even if you think that you're financially stable, still fill it out. Because let's say something happens. Let's say you go through a financial hardship. You want to make sure you filled out the FAFSA, because then you can appeal for financial aid in the future. So make sure you always fill it out. I also suggest you fill it out right when it opens on October 1st. I don't know if this is true, but this was something that would go around when I was in high school, is the quicker you sign up for financial aid, the more probability that the school is willing to give you higher aid, just because you're one of the first to apply. But I know that if you do fill out financial aid, schools are in general more likely to give you more financial aid. And then CATA. CATA is the financial aid application for students under the DREAM Act. Make sure you also you guys fill that out. There is a financial aid for you guys. I actually never, when I was in high school, this was not actually publicized at my high school, unfortunately. So any friends that I did have that were either an ESL or SL, or ESL, English Student Learning, I would have to like help them out or figure out how they can get financial aid. So this is important. Like there are financial aid for DREAM Act students. I don't know why it isn't as advertised in some high schools as others, but it is something readily available for them as well. I also suggest you always fill it out. Always fill out these financial aid forms, you guys. It is so important. And I actually have a Google Doc form that I created. It's like 15 pages long with a bunch of resources. I linked a free step-to-step guide for how to fill the FAFSA, how to fill out the CATA, and how to fill out the CSSS application. And the CSS application is application for financial aid for non-federal scholarships. And that's sometimes something that private schools will also need you to fill out in addition to the FAFSA. So the FAFSA is for federal aid, and the CSS, I believe it's a California student like scholarship application. That is for non-federal tuition scholarships. So for private schools. And if you're applying to private schools, make sure you fill out both of them. I unfortunately didn't actually fill out the CSS when I was applying for college because I didn't know about it. I found out about this after. I didn't go to private school though, but if I would have known, it probably maybe would have changed my opinion, because I know that one of the reasons why I didn't go to Pepperdine was because it was so expensive, the tuition per year. So fill out both applications, FAFSA and CSS. And if you're a DREAM Act student, make sure you fill out CATA. And then some other financial aid options for students that you guys can consider are grants or loans. Grants the FAFSA already has like the Pell Grant built into it, but there are grants that companies give out too. So make sure you do your research on what companies can give you a personal grant. And then there's loans. There's the direct subsidized loans, and then direct subsidized loans. And just make sure you do your research. Subsidized loans are loans that schools can give you that are paid, like the interest is paid by the government, so you don't actually have to pay interest on them. You get to just pretty much use a loan for the entirety of your college experience, but it has to be because you need financial aid. And then the unsubsidized loans are anyone can apply for these loans. You don't have to be in financial need to apply for these loans, but you do have to pay interest, and they do accumulate and accrue over time. So just make sure you do your research if you are going to apply for a loan. I suggest that before you do that, obviously fill out FAFSA, CSS, CATA, look for scholarships and grants. I feel like the loan, in my personal opinion, should be the last option, but it's still a really good option if you need it. Are there any questions about the financial aid or any of the other three that I've said so far? I know that was a lot, and I feel like I talked really fast and through a lot of info, but I just want to make sure if there are any questions about the first four.
Can I just mention something?
Yeah.
So for me, like Jennifer said, like this is very overwhelming, like applying for college and just like figuring out, like for me, like number one too was also like my financial situation, like how affordable are like the universities I'm applying for. Not only that, I didn't limit myself, but I saw like financial opportunities like scholarships and grants, applying for FAFSA early, like you had mentioned. But I wasn't able to do all of that or know all of this. All of you are learning about this now, right? Like if you're in high school, but the person who would really help me, or two actually, were Janine, so Miss Letford, and then also my college counselor. Both of them, they helped me just revising my essays, revising my college applications, but also like I would spend my lunches there with my college counselor, and she would just walk through like my application, because if you commit an error, it could just completely backtrack your application for FAFSA and for your college apps too. So just having someone look over them and then remind you about deadlines, it's just a really great environment. So definitely visit like your college center if you have one, or like set up a coffee chat with your college counselor. They're a really great resource.
Yes, thank you, Kenya. Yeah, exactly. Miss Lefford was actually the one who helped me fill out my FAFSA application back then. She was a great resource, but like you said, college counselors are there to help you. They're literally called college counselors for a reason, guys. I can't stress this enough. Use the resources at your high school. Use the college counselors. Use the college and career center. They have so many resources, so many opportunities for students that really go either unused or they go over everyone's head, but like there's so many opportunities. So definitely use them and ask questions. Reach out to people. If you don't know how to fill something out, reach out to them. I reached out to like a cousin to fill out FAFSA because the second year I was like, oh no, I didn't remember how to fill it out. So every year I reached out to someone. I was like, I need help again. I need help again. So reach out, guys. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to ask for help, especially as people of color, especially as women of color. It could be a lot harder to ask for help, or at least personally, it's been like hard for me to ask for help just because I guess we just are so determined to do it on our own. But we're a community and we're here to help each other and support each other. So like Kenya said, use your college counselors, use any resources or mentors you may have. So thank you for sharing that, Kenya. Any other questions or anything someone wants to add to any of the first four I've talked about? Okay. If no one wants to add, I'll continue to the fifth and the sixth. So like Kenya said, the application, there are a lot of deadlines and it can be overwhelming to apply to college. But make sure you do like ask for help. Make sure you do ask your questions. Make sure you have a calendar and a planner. Like I would have a physical academic planner and then my Google Calendar and put in all the dates. I would handwrite them and then put them into my virtual calendar to make sure like, okay, this application is due this day. This FAFSA deadline is this day. The CATA deadline or this is this day. So make sure you guys are organized and structured and put in the deadlines that are necessary, but also make sure you guys have all the requirements met. So recommendation letters, make sure you guys get those ahead of time. Make sure you ask your teachers maybe a couple months in advance, or at least a couple weeks in advance for them to write your recommendation letter. Especially high school teachers that get asked often, they might cap it at like 5 students. So if you want to get a good recommendation letter from someone who you really liked, from a teacher you really liked, or from a teacher who you really connected with, make sure you ask ahead of time. Same thing with the parent brag sheet. I know you're like, oh, why do I have to ask my parents ahead of time? I had to ask my parents ahead of time because they were not on top of it. They were not like, oh, I forgot to do it, or I forgot to, or I don't know what to write. So I had to make sure that my parents were on top of their parent brag sheet. Some private schools require a parent brag sheet, not a lot of them. I think the one that required it for me was Pepperdine or Cal. So not a lot of schools might require a parent brag sheet, but something that helped out my parents for the parent brag sheet is writing down everything I've done on a piece of paper and letting them know, like, this is everything I've done, you guys. Like, incorporate all of this into your parent brag sheet. You know, like, I'm your daughter. I want to get into a good college, right? And same thing with test scores. Make sure you do all the required tests you need to do. Make sure you submit all the test scores timely, in a timely manner. A lot of people might say don't submit all your test scores, especially if it was like a bad score or not. I personally think you should just submit all of them. I did. I even got a 2 on one of my AP tests. I still submitted it. Because honestly, sometimes some Cal States might still give you credit. Sometimes. I'm not saying like they will. It's very rare. I had to actually go talk to one of the counselors on campus to ask for some credit for it, and I was able to get a little bit of credit for that one class. So I say still submit it, but you would still have to follow up with either the college counselor there or your academic major counselor on campus. Same thing with essays. Make sure you complete your essays in a timely manner. And I would also suggest you guys reach out to friends, family, mentors, counselors, teachers, and ask them to read your essays. You definitely should get feedback on your college application essays, just because having it be looked over by X amount of people will be really helpful to determine, okay, am I really selling myself short? Or did I have a grammatical error or syntax error? Or is this too short, or is this too long? I would always suggest you guys reach out to people and have them reread your essays. Miss Lefford actually read a lot, I think all of my college essays when I was applying to college. And then I also reached out to my teachers, like my English teacher, my AP Lit teacher. I was like, are you willing to read over my essays? And luckily they were willing to. So reach out, guys, to your teachers, reach out to your mentors, ask your questions, but make sure you complete all of the required items in a timely manner. And then some tips, which I feel like I've reiterated these tips throughout the entire presentation up to now. Utilize your resources. I can't stress this enough. Utilize your resources, guys. Free websites, college counselors, teachers, friends, mentors, peers. Tour campuses. I feel like tour campuses are a really good way to get a feel for the colleges that you want. If you can't physically tour a campus, there are a lot of virtual campus tours now, which is really great. Or reach out to someone who might have gone to that campus, or someone who might know someone who went to that campus and ask for their experience. Or let's say you don't want to go to a Cal State, but you know someone who at least went to a four-year college, you can still ask them for their experience. Like I said, I'm the first generation student, so my parents didn't go to four-year college. I actually called my 5th grade teacher and asked her about her college experience. I don't know if you guys know her. I don't know if all of you guys went to New Academy, but it was Miss Olson. I called her up one day and I was like, I don't know what it's like to go to college. I need help. I'm stressing out. And she was able to talk me through her college experience, which was really nice to hear. And it's also a really good way to pinpoint whether or not I wanted a public or private school. Extracurriculars and volunteer opportunities. If you're unsure of what you want to major in or minor in, or if you want to pad up your resume a little bit more, your college application, extracurriculars and volunteer experiences are a great way to figure out whether or not you want to major in a specific field. And it's a great way to pad up your college applications. And it's a great way to socialize and network with people. I've met a lot of people in my network through volunteer experiences. So honestly, great way to build your network, socialize, get experience, and the plus side is you get to help others in need. And then, like I said multiple times, reach out to people. Any questions on any of that, on the last two? Anything anyone wants to add on? Cool. Just a quick question for all of you guys. I know like half of you guys are already in college, but the people who are currently in high school, are you guys currently applying to colleges? Are there anything you guys want me to go more in depth about the college applications? Are you guys interested in like the Cal State application in particular? I think this is only Raphael or Danielle, right? They're the only high schoolers.
Yeah, so right now I'm in 10th grade, so I'm not really, well, I know what I want to major in because I want to go into pre-med and I want to get into the UC system. So right now I'm just trying to focus on all my extracurriculars, AP classes, honor classes, just trying to build my application. This year I wanted to look for more internships and volunteer opportunities, so I went to a network. I was networking at UCLA with this partnership my school has with them. So yeah, I'm just trying to build my application as a high school student right now.
Yeah, good. Like I said, make sure you reach out to your teachers in your college career center. They'll have a great amount of information on any community resources or any potential internships in the community. So make sure you reach out to those if you're looking for an internship. Also, I don't want to like call out Lamia, but I know she said she was a pre-med student, so that could be a potential like person you can contact if she's willing to like help you out. So that's like a way to like also figure out what you want to do or figure out like how the pre-med experience is like, reaching out to people you may know and reaching out to people who are in this organization or this community. But yeah, hopefully some of these tips I'm sharing are helpful for you. I also will be sharing like 15 to 20 page document I made for you guys with a bunch of resources and a bunch of companies that have scholarships and internships. Danielle, do you have any questions?
Not really. I'm a senior, so I already finished my applications. I guess the thing that I would be most curious about is like how the FAFSA works.
Okay, yeah, the FAFSA is federal tuition, so it's based on the government, right? And it's statewide, right? It's countrywide. A lot of universities and college actually even require it. There's some states that you have to actually fill it out. I think that might be the case. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but I think California, there's some school counties that require you, like you have to fill it out. It depends on the school county that you're in. But it's federal tuition. So it helps with paying for your college tuition, college expenses. So like it can help pay for books, for your housing. If you're like honestly any housing, even if you're off campus dorming, it actually helped pay for my off campus apartment. It also helps pay for supplies. It helps pay for transportation. So FAFSA can really be a good way to pay for your tuition and your expenses in college. I can't tell you exactly like the intricate way like of how it's dispersed the money, but I know that at the beginning of each semester FAFSA will just give you the tuition and it'll go straight into your student account and it pays for your semester. But you should be on top of it because sometimes it won't go through and you should make sure that your financial aid office did make it like get through, but FAFSA is a good way to pay for a lot of Kenya, a lot of your expenses.
Yeah, so I was just going to add that FAFSA this year, it's like they've made the biggest changes in like the law, like with FAFSA, since like 10 years. So the deadline this year is actually June 30th, and it just recently opened, I believe, in December. So I thankfully already turned mine in just because getting it in like super early is extremely important. But now it just looks a little bit different in the aspect of like if you're in the same household and like your siblings go to college too. I think before maybe another sibling would get more money, but I think now it's just completely equal. I can completely be reversing this, but I think just like looking at FAFSA, like there's a bunch of videos that it's like during your application, it takes you through a few videos, like intentionally watching those videos. That's what helped me understand it a lot too. And then since my dad filled it out for me this year, he's a Spanish speaker, doesn't know English. my older sister was there to help him. So just like having like you being there with your parent as they fill it out, because now that's the biggest change too. Before you would fill out your parents' information, now they have to do it themselves. Like they need to create an account and do it themselves. So you sitting with them, going through it with them, so there's no errors is extremely important.
Yeah. And I think they also added like a IRS tool where you can link your parents' IRS tax forms and it'll pre-fill them for you, but you still should make sure that all the information is still correct. So like Kenya said, make sure you're there with your parents. I'm not sure about the sibling thing. I can't really speak on that particularly because I went to a 4-year, my brother went to a community college. So it was the level of tuition aid was also very different. So you would have to ask if you do have siblings. If you're an only child, then it's not really something that will probably cross your mind. But I think it's about the same if you're siblings in the same household, especially since you guys would both be dependent of the same parents, from the same parents. Hopefully that answers some of your questions. I will be sharing, like I said, a document that has a step-to-step guide on how to fill out FAFSA and like what it is. Oh. And then I'm just going to quickly talk about my college experience. So I graduated in 3 years, like I said, and it was because of the APs I took in high school. I was able to graduate early because of the AP credits that I got from those courses. And then I majored with I graduated with 1 major and 2 minors. I took 29 courses overall in my college experience. I did 2 minors just because I really wanted to expand my knowledge. It wasn't really anything in particular, to be honest. I just really wanted to also stay in college a little bit longer because I had done 2 years of Zoom University and I didn't get a chance to really experience college. So I just added another minor to just have an excuse to stay in college a little bit longer. And also in part, I was able to do that because FAFSA was paying for my tuition, which is really cool. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it because I would have had to pay out of pocket. I also participated in a lot of clubs and extracurriculars. I actually suggest that you guys search these up too. The National Student Leadership the National Student Leadership Scholarship Federation, NSLS. This is a great leadership and scholarship, like national membership organization where you can actually talk to business leaders. You can, apply for internships, opportunities, and scholarships, and it give you like free courses. There's like a whole application on it too. But I would suggest you actually search these up and apply to it if you qualify. Same thing with the national I don't know the names off the top of my head, guys, sorry. But the NSCS is also a great national organization that you guys should also apply to or see if you guys can qualify for it. They're great resources for building your network, for scholarship opportunities, internship opportunities, and also student discounts. They offer a lot of student discounts because they're partnered with a lot of companies. So it's a really good way to have fee waiver reductions or have discounts on I think they had like discounts on like Geico and Adobe, which is obviously Geico's an insurance, and then Adobe is like an app that you can use for videos and stuff. And then I was also part of the Pi Sigma Alpha Society, which is an honor society for the political science department. And then I was a part of a bunch of clubs. So I was a part of the Christian fraternity intervarsity on campus, which is probably one of the biggest Christian fraternities across the country. I think Kenya is actually a part of it at her school. I really loved it. I had most of my friends actually to this day are still from that fraternity. So I would say not only does participating in clubs and extracurriculars allow you to network, get scholarships and internships, but you make lifelong friends. College can be very, very lonely if you don't go out there and socialize and network. So make sure you guys take advantage of these opportunities, but also build your network and social community. I also volunteered and interned outside of school just to make sure I had experience in my field once I got out of college. Same thing goes with jobs. If you're able to get a job in college in the field that you're currently studying, it's good because once you're out of college, you have experience. But let's say you're not able to get a job, volunteer work and internships are a great way to build that experience. Take advantage of all the resources on campus. Take advantage of all the events on campus. A lot of campuses offer club fairs, job fairs, free networking events, free photo shoots. Like a lot of these campuses have so many resources, events, and programs for students to use for free, but aren't usually either tapped into or aren't usually used. I would always suggest students to always use the resources that they have, because it's a great way to get help for free. Same thing that goes with the gym. You know, you go to college, a lot of the Cal State campuses, a lot of actually college universities have free gyms, have free health services, have free mental health services, have free counseling, have free, I know my school had like free tax. They had like an office where you can go in and you can fill out your taxes with somebody, with an accountant, for free. So make sure you guys research your campuses and use all the resources, because it's a really great way to get prepared for the real world and do it for free. And then try new things. College is like I had the best experience in college. I really love my college experience. I miss college, so I'd always say try new things in college. You're only young for so long, so make sure you try new things. And I feel like college is the best way and the best place to try new things. And then some tips. Like I said, take advantage of all the tutoring centers, office hours. Guys, this is so important. If your teachers offer office hours, go in. Even if you don't need help, go in. Say hi, talk to them, make yourself known. Why? Because when the time comes for internships, job opportunities, you need recommendation letters. Grad school, you need recommendation letters. These teachers are going to be your best bet for these incredible recommendation letters. And not only that, let's say you want to apply to some other school, you want an internship at, across the East Coast, right? A lot of these teachers have contacts across the country that can probably get you in, or can call, or they can write you a recommendation letter for that school. They're really a great way to tap into a bigger network. And like I said, they can write you an incredible recommendation letter for when you want to apply to internships or whatnot, right? And also, I don't know if this is going to be helpful or not, but personally for me, also being able to have a close relationship with these professors. When I needed an extension on an assignment, they were more willing to give me an extension because they knew me personally, and they were like, okay, we trust you enough. We know that you're going to, turn in the assignment. It's not really a big thing that a lot of professors would do, but I found it very useful when I really do need an extension or something. So go into your teacher's office hours. And if you do need help, well, they're there to help you too. So office hours are really important, guys. You utilize them and use all the free services on campus. I already mentioned that. Take advantage of all the student discounts. When you're a college student, there's so many discounts that you guys can use. Amazon, Hulu, all of these big companies offer student discounts. Make sure you utilize them, because they make a big difference when it comes to, even if you don't personally use them, but let's say your family does, they make a big difference when it comes to paying the bills. Same thing with community resources. Use them. A lot of communities and stores, companies also offer student discounts or student waivers, student programs, ambassadorship programs. Do your research and make sure that you guys, let's say you use like Paxson, or like let's say you shop at American Eagle, there's a lot of discounts that go for students and college programs and ambassadorships that can be offered to college students. Use resources. There are a lot of free resources and websites and apps online for students to use. Even like the simplest of things, of like finding your textbooks for free online. I personally never bought my textbooks at the student store. I bought them my first semester of college. They were the most expensive at the student store. I was able to find them either for free the rest of my semesters online, or buy them for cheaper on eBay. I would always suggest you guys do your research, but there are a lot of free websites that offer free textbooks, free resources for students. You just got to make sure you find them. I actually linked a ton of resources that I used during my high school experience in this Google Doc. I will give you a glimpse of it once I finish this presentation, but it's really long. There's a lot of resources, guys. You guys would be shocked, but there are a lot of people who are willing to give out free stuff and free money. Like I said, apply for scholarships. Your school offers a lot of scholarships. Student government and your campuses offer scholarships. Apply to those. A lot of the departments in your school offer scholarships. Apply to those. Make sure you apply to all these scholarships, because that is free money that could be used for tuition, expenses, even for personal expenses. So make sure you apply for scholarships. Make sure you also read like the requirements and like what you can use it for, because sometimes there is like some fine print that you can only use it for college, but there are other scholarships that can be used for college student expenses. Ask questions. Always ask questions. Reach out to your peers and professors. One thing I would also say is thank your professors. One thing I always did after I finished a semester was email my professors or write them a personal letter and thank them. That can also go a huge way when you want a recommendation letter or you want them to be a part of your social network. I did this when I was even applying to college. I applied to Pepperdine and I got accepted, right? I didn't go to Pepperdine, but I still sent a personal written email to the dean. No, not even an email, a personal letter to the dean thanking him for my acceptance and admission to the school. And I was able to actually reach out to him. He actually reached out to me and Miss Lefford after I sent that letter. And now he is part of our network. Always thank your professors. Always thank anyone who gives you an opportunity. It can make such a huge difference. And honestly, it doesn't take even that long to even write a thank you letter or a thank you email. So just make sure you guys always thank everyone, because it can make such a huge difference when you want to tap into a network or if you need a recommendation letter. Take notes, organize them accordingly. Always take notes in class. I know that might be like a really silly tip, but like always take notes. College can be crazy and some professors can honestly give you the randomest questions on the randomest things. So always take notes. I found myself sometimes being like, I don't recall him saying this, but I would look at my notes, or I'll have like a transcript from Otter AI who would like record the course and then write a transcript. And I'll be like, oh yeah, he did say this. Okay, this was on the test. And then just schedule, organize, network, and have fun. Those are pretty much the 4 things I would say about college. Schedule properly, organize your time properly. Make sure that you guys, when courses open, you guys make sure you guys get the right times you guys want, the right classes you guys want, the proper major minor courses that you need to take for that semester. Make sure you do it in a timely manner, because courses go fast. Like a lot of students, once the course portal opens, they're literally right there at the minute trying to get the classes that they want. Another thing I would also give as a tip is also use Rate My Professor to research your professors to make sure they're a good professor, first of all, and to make sure they're a fair professor, because you'll be surprised as to how many professors are not fair in college. I was literally hospitalized for 2 weeks in college, and my professor did not want to accept my work. She did not want to accept any of my assignments because I was not in class. So make sure you do your research also on your professors and just have fun. College is a fun time. It's a great experience. You guys have to just make the most out of it, but in order to do that, you guys need to actually put yourselves out there, ask questions, socialize, network. And then that's the end of my presentation. I don't know if you guys have any questions, specific questions. I know I threw out a lot at you guys. Hopefully though, you guys take the big takeaways, ask questions, schedule, timely, network, and have fun, and then try new things. That's the biggest takeaways I would say. But the biggest one is ask questions and reach out. Do you guys have any questions on anything I've said? Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to show you guys the document I prepared for you guys. It's really quick. It's a lot, but I will be sending this to Kenya, and hopefully she can share it with you guys. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So you guys are probably gonna think, wow, she really took her time to write 15 pages of this. Yes, I did, you guys. So the first couple of pages are like some app extensions that you guys can use. So like writing extensions that help your essays, Grammarly, Pro Writing, Google Docs, EasyBib. You know, you guys probably heard of these, right? Otter AI is something I use almost every day in college. It records the courses, but then it also writes a transcript as it goes. So you can go back and like read the notes. And then I used Honey, Rakuten, Checkmate for like more coupons. I was a broke college student, even though I was getting tuition. So these were a lot of great ways to, get discounts. Rate My Professors I used all the time when I was applying for courses. Purdue, Perlugo, Rakuten, O'Reilly, all of these are great places to find free books. So I would suggest you guys look into those if you guys need to buy textbooks. Always check first online for free textbooks. Discord and GroupMe. actually before every class, I would email my entire class list and ask them if they wanted to be in a Discord and a group me. Why? Because if I missed class or if I had a question or we needed to do a group project, we were already in a group chat the entire class except the teacher. And we would make sure that this group chat was obviously, you don't want to, guys, don't cheat. It's really easy for them to find out. I'm just gonna say that out there, but it's a great way to also network with your classmates. I was able to like find friends from these Discord classes, especially because of Zoom University. That's how I call it. It was hard to make friends online, so we would make friendships over these Discord chats. So I would also suggest you guys reach out to your entire class list, make a group chat if you're in college, use it as a resource. Obviously LinkedIn, I also use LinkedIn as a resource to reach out to people. It's a great way to also add your professors to your network. A lot of these professors are really willing to help you out once you graduate. You just got to be willing to ask. Obviously some other apps, you guys can look at this once you guys get it. It's a more in-depth website of the FAFSA, CATA, the CSS, the College Scholarship Service, which is the one for private schools. And then there's scholarship websites, Cal State scholarships, UC scholarships. That's so annoying, Grammarly. Raise Me is a great website for students in high school to get micro scholarships. Like you can literally get money for getting an A in a class. So this is really cool to use if you're in high school right now. I used it. I got a couple scholarships out of that, so it really does work. And then there's a Western Undergraduate Exchange. These are for students who are like on the Western side of the country, but want to go to college in another state or to college out of state. These are scholarships that are available for those students, and it lowers tuition for out of state students, which is pretty cool. A lot of scholarships, there's a whole list of scholarships, difference between subsidized, unsubsidized loans, a couple of questions to consider when taking a loan, and then some tips, emailing tips, writing tips, buying textbook tips, housing tips, whether you're living on or off campus, scheduling, organizing tips, office hours tips, college services, student discounts, other tips. There's a whole lot of like stuff that I put into this, you guys. Hopefully you guys use it. Hopefully it's useful. And then at the end of this really long list, I put more websites that are useful, free courses that you can take, free certifications, free websites that offer free tests for like AP test, ACT test, grad school test, the GRE test, LSAT testing, pre-med tests. There are a lot of websites that offer free tests, and I link them all here. And then scholarship websites. There's a lot of scholarship websites, you guys. And at the end, there's some high school tips. So I will be sharing this massive document with Kenya. Hopefully she can send it to all of you guys. I will be adding a couple more stuff today just so that you guys can have like a very good overview of everything I said. But essentially that is all the resources that I use, all the resources I wish I had, and all the resources I hope you guys utilize when you're in college and even outside of college. I still use some of these apps in my day-to-day job at a nonprofit. So yeah, thank you guys for having me. I know I talked a lot and it was really fast. Hopefully it was useful. If you guys don't mind telling me what you guys liked the most about the presentation, it would really help me out to, like whether or not what I shared was useful. But if you guys are willing to just, raise your hands, share something you liked, share something you didn't know, something new you learned, that'd be great. Anyone?
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand. I thought it was interesting that you said to like write letters to professors. I don't think that's something I like really considered, but yeah, and also like I think it is important to go to office hours because like a lot of the times if you just say that you're interested in their research or even if they don't have like spots open, they oftentimes connect you to like other people. So it's like nice. It's like good to form connections like going office hours. And I think oftentimes like having those connections like they lead you to like where you want to go. So like I think that was like a good part of the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Something I would also add to that, I also emailed my professors at the beginning of the semester, just letting them know I was excited to be in their class and if there was any tips they would provide me for advice to better prepare for the class. It's just a way for them to know your name from the beginning to end. So email before and after the class. Anyone else want to share before we end the presentation? Oh yeah, a lot of companies have free money, guys. And credit cards, if you open a credit card really early on too, like once you're 18, they also offer discounts. There's so many companies. I took a lot of advantage of that. And even since I graduated 3 years early, I even took advantage of it my fourth year of college, of college, you know? So use it, guys. Really do make your research and use all of the discounts available for you. Yeah. Great. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Kenya and Elizabeth, for letting me do the presentation. And like I said, sorry for throwing so much at you guys. Hopefully it was useful. And you guys can also reach out to me if you guys need
Yeah,
any questions, help. I
thank
will,
you so much.
yeah.
So I'm sorry, I just wanted to add one more thing before we all leave, that we are having like the 10th year anniversary of Alumni 360. It'll be like a leadership event, but also the Power of I Am book launch. And I actually have a little, like, I'll share my screen so you guys can see it. But basically, all of you are invited. It should have been sent to you like a little link to RSVP, but if you guys didn't receive that email, go ahead and just RSVP here through this QR code, and then I will also be sending out an email again just as a reminder because it is coming up. It's March 16th, and this is the address. You can like take a picture of my screen too, but just make sure you RSVP. There will be free food, networking opportunities. Miss Thetford will be there. Lizbeth will be there. Jackie De Leon will be there. I myself will not be there because it's like finals week for me, unfortunately. I am on the quarter system though, so it might be different. If like you attend CSUN, I don't know when like those finals are. And then yeah, it'll just be a really great time. So definitely RSVP, and if you're interested and or have any questions, you can reach out to me or Miss Edford. But again, thank you so much, Jennifer, for your time and just sharing like all of your resources and tips. I myself did learn a lot. I think just sending out like thank you notes to professors, or even like when you get opportunities. I don't think I practiced that enough. So I'll definitely be doing that more. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I did send out the Amazon gift cards, but thank you guys and have a good rest of your day.